Again, if you've never taken economics, I mean, you can just go on YouTube and like read a course. But economics is theory based. Anyone out here saying they know how the economy works is a lie. Economics is essentially like all theories. The assumption is with this, then that, or if this, then that. But it's no guarantee, because if it was, then people would do things and solutions would be had immediately, right? It's not like a light switch, right? If I go on, electrician would say like, nah, Corey, if you go switch that light switch the other way, it's going to turn this light off, right? That's how I set it up. The economy is not that way. It's in hopes that like, yeah, Corey, if you switch that light switch off, hopefully, the light switch will turn off. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. All right. Trump promised to further increase American energy production. So more energy, in theory, would help lower its costs. It is already at all-time highs. So we're already at all-time highs for energy production. That's one thing too. People only complain about the negative stuff, and I see that mainly, like I said, in gas prices. But when gas is high, people be bitching about it. But gas is back to under $3 here in Maryland, at least where I'm at. And so, shout out to the Biden administration for that, getting gas prices lower. They were getting closer to $4, probably like in 2022, 2023, but it's back down under $3 over here in Maryland. So I don't know. Gas is different in every single state and even area in Maryland, but gas has been going down. That's a fact. And that's the thing. So again, economics here. Let's just say with gas prices are going down due to our energy production as America being at an all-time high. Then there's sort of like an ethical, environmental conversation of, well, how did we get our energy production so high? And then do people want that to occur due to any long-term benefits that, or pros and cons from a long-term perspective, not just long-term benefits, but consequences in the long term. In the short term, yes, raising energy production may have, and it did, lower the cost of gas. But then how does that impact us globally from an environmental standpoint, or even from an ethical standpoint? How does that actually impact things? Can it cause more wars with us, producing more energy as America? All those things come into play when you're looking at these type of decisions being made, and you're assessing what people are going to do from an economic standpoint, and look at their ideas on how they want to make change. It's not just to produce more energy, thus gas prices get lower. That isn't a guarantee. And if it is a guarantee, or in the sense of it does happen, that doesn't mean long term we will be in the best situation. Those are always the things you have to assess when you're seeing these type of decisions being made. Trump also did not specify how he would fix any supply chain issues. I mean, whose fault is it for the panorama? Like, I mean, I would say that when I say it just popped up, Trump was president during the beginning of COVID, but I mean, from Trump's perspective, if I recall correctly, right, COVID was like a crazy time frame, especially in the beginning. But I don't believe he wanted to shut things down like initially. I think his hand, a lot of times his hand was forced. I mean, he couldn't shut the states down. He could just shut how people came in and out the country as a whole. And so we get our supplies from other nations, as people understand from like the tariff conversation that's been happening. But this will go to the point of, well, if we had more domestic production, then maybe we'd be able to remediate supply chain issues faster to help deal with some of the cost and production issues that we're dealing with. Trump is saying that pivoting instead of the complaints about the Biden administration incentives, he pivoted about saying Trump is saying that he didn't specify he would fix any supply chain issues, pivoting instead to complaints about the Biden administration's incentives for electric vehicles. Yes, that's a big thing too. I mean, I guess I can find the article again to go over it. But in California, I don't know if it's still a thing now, but they passed a law, I believe, to where they were forcing not everyone to drive, but no more gas vehicle production. I think it's in 2030. I could be wrong. I'll do an article. I have to find the article about it. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. 2035. I'll try to do this article in a later episode. But they're going to have electric only vehicles, and this has been talked about, I think, even before the pandemic. But citizens in California either decided to move, right? But the ones who planned on staying and being there in 2020, 2035 and beyond, they went ahead and just made the executive decision and just went and got an electric vehicle. Okay, cool. This law is going to pass. They still want to live in California. I'll just go ahead and get on board now. So at least I'm used to an electric vehicle. I give myself some time to prepare to learn how to use an electric vehicle versus using the gas vehicle. Well, what ended up happening is that, as you can imagine, since there are more electric vehicles being driven now than gas vehicles, as far as just over a period of time, less gas was being bought. And the gas, at least in California, the taxes on gas were being used to like pay for roads and things of that nature. So in short, the tax money they were getting from people buying gas, that decreased because they had more electric vehicles, and people bought more electric vehicles due to the law that they said was going to pass and ended up passing. And so California may not still be in a position, because I haven't recently looked this up. They were at least in a position earlier this year where they were dealing with, in short, a tax shortage and trying to figure out how to pay for things because they had a smaller budget, at least as far as money coming in from the taxes on gas. So those are the type of things where I'm talking about, again, when you look at economics, where it's like, okay, let's say electric vehicles are better for the planet and environmental issue than gas vehicles. Cool. So let's make it so that people have to buy electric vehicles. All right. You put that in place, but you didn't look, short-term and long-term consequences of, well, if people are driving electric vehicles, that means they're not driving gas vehicles, which means we're not selling as much gas, which means all the benefits we get from selling gas, the taxes from gas, we won't have any more. So did we prepare or even think about that when we pass this law? It seems like that's a no. I think forcing people to drive electric vehicles, it would also be in your head that, hey, that means people are going to be buying less gas, which means, hey, look at the budget, and wherever gas is putting money at in the budget, we need to assess this and see what we need to do from a budget standpoint, and even see if this even fiscally makes sense. These are the things that you see come about, and it gets interesting as far as, like, I guess they're political science majors, right? They're not math majors, or they're not, software developers like myself, computer science majors. And so, like, maybe math isn't like super heavy when they're like thinking these type of things. Because I think that's simple logic. I'm not a politician, but when I came across that headline, I'm like, did they not think that they was going to have less money than from gas? Like, if you're going to make it so no one can drive electric gas vehicles, then you're not going to sell any gas, as far as in a major way. So, and you make money off the gas. Like, that's just simple. I think that's not even economics. That's like business 101. What? Anyways, in fact, experts say Trump's much talked about tariff proposals would likely exacerbate supply chain woes. Again, I was talking about the other country. And again, this with the tariffs that I just mentioned, Trump isn't just saying put tariffs on other countries, making it more expensive, thus making supply chain issues worse. He's also saying he's going to incentivize American companies to increase their production domestically, and this, in theory, would offset, if not put us in a better position from a production/tariff standpoint. So yes, we would be getting stuff from other countries, but our production would have increased here in America.